Before we get into the episode today, I want to do a quick plug for our Facebook group. If you're just getting started or you want to make seven figures reselling, join our Facebook group at patreon.com/the-resellers-podcast. We have people from all levels in that group, people who list one item because they're just getting started, all the way to people who list hundreds of items a day. So get in the group, level up. If you don't like it for any reason, we'll give you your money back. It's about $1 a day at patreon.com/the-resellers-podcast. We'll see you guys in the group, and we'll see you guys in the show. Podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. We're going to talk about some big USPS eBay shipping news today. We're going to talk about what we expect to happen in 2021 and our best sourcing tips. And there's actually some cool opportunities coming up, so make sure you guys watch all the way to the end of the video. Let's start with this big news from eBay. You just sent me an article earlier about eBay making some changes to help us with these shipping problems.
Yeah, and like we've been talking about before, like as long as we as sellers do what we're supposed to do, we get the item out on time, everything that's outside of our control with the post office, with COVID, with shutdown, with increased mail going through it, eBay is going to take us. So they sent in an email, I don't know, a couple of hours ago, and it says for transactions occurring November 15th through December 31st, we are adding the following seller protections. We will automatically remove any defects for item not received cases closed without seller resolution, as well as associated negative and neutral feedback if these conditions are met. Tracking was uploaded and has a physical scan from the carrier before the case was opened. A delivery scan shows the item was delivered after the case was closed. So if you get a negative feedback, as long as the case was opened after you got the physical scan and the item shows delivered, eBay is going to remove any type of negative or neutral feedback as well as the defect. Now, the reason that they need the item to be delivered is because the customer either needs the item or the money. So if the item is not delivered, then you need to give a refund. It also says, in addition, these cases will not impact your service metric ratings. We will also remove negative and neutral feedback related to late delivery automatically if an item arrives late, but the tracking shows that you shipped it on time. And then it goes on to say, we recognize the nature of what's going on is unprecedented. And they're just reinforcing that as long as we do everything that's inside of our control, that they're going to help us out and they're going to take care of the rest.
And this is one of those times where if you can help eBay out and wait in line and get items scanned, that will help them out a lot because they're trying to help us. They're not trying to like mess up with your metrics. They want to deliver a consistent experience to the customer. And you can see on if everyone right now should buy 5 items on eBay and see what the messaging coming in from eBay is. It's really important. I have a few items that I purchased on eBay and it's showing eBay is telling me, hey, this is going to take a lot longer than you think. Be patient. We're sorry. It's not the seller's fault. It's not eBay's fault. It's not even the post office's fault. This is just a weird situation. So definitely, we see a lot of complaining and a lot of people talking on social media about things they can't control. The only thing you can do is try to get it scanned. That's almost the maximum you can do.
Yeah, and that should be the top priority. Just like you said, even if you literally have to stand in line, that is gonna, cover your behind as much as possible.
Yeah, and I love that they're removing all the negative defects because, as you know, the service metrics, there's 2. There's one that's for item not as described. And that one, if you have too many of them, you get a 5% penalty, which is insane. So make sure that you describe your items accurately. Number 1, that's most important. Now they have a new service metric, though, that's shipping problems. And this is new. They don't charge you more if you're too high, but my guess is in the future they will. They will start charging people who consistently ship late.
Yeah, because automatically off top, you're going to lose top rated seller if you have too many shipping defects.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the late shipment defect, which is if it arrives late. And then you have the tracking uploaded late without a scan. So
Right.
if you just print the label and ship it out next week, then you're going to get a tracking uploaded, but not a scan.
Hmm.
And then you're going to get a defect for that.
And as of right now, also a lot of sellers don't know this. If you consistently do that, it will also tell the buyer that there'll be 3 or 4 more days after you promise because you're you're showing eBay that you shipped 2 or 3 days too late. They're going to let your customers know that you shipped 2 or 3 days late. So don't do that because even the handling you put, they won't trust you if your history doesn't say that.
Absolutely. And if eBay can't trust you, then they have no incentive to give you increased visibility on search rank. If all of your metrics are 100% perfect, eBay has the confidence in you that you're going to deliver the item that you're advertising, and then you're going to also deliver it on time in a timely manner as advertising. So if you're not doing that, then eBay has no incentive to give you any kind of premium placement on the search.
That's right. So we want everyone to remember eBay's doing what they can to help us out. They're the second largest platform and they have a lot of things in place. There's a lot of moving parts. They literally are the largest shipper on the post office. They're the biggest shipper. So they have more packages than any other company. So it's in their best interest to be on top of it more than anybody else. So that's going to lead us into our conversation about planning for 2021. And you mentioned a couple things that I want to stress. If you're just getting started, when you first start eBay, the margins are actually huge because you're doing it all yourself and maybe with stuff you got for free and you're doing it at home. So do you want to touch base on when people are getting started? It might be a great time to get started.
Yeah, any day is a great day to get started with anything. So, if you are first starting, your overhead is very low. You have no warehouse, no employees. You're just kind of getting by with what you have. So there's no further investment as opposed to like big fancy lights or fancy camera, fancy backdrops. All of your costs are very low, very minimum, and hopefully that will allow you to keep all the money inside the business and then keep the business rolling, keep the money rolling, and will help you build a bigger business as fast as possible.
And right now, donations, there are people who normally would donate their things because they don't care. Now they're trying to make a couple $100, go to the flea market and open a booth for 20 to 50 bucks for the on Sunday, or they might um, do Facebook Marketplace, or they might do a garage sale. That's going to be way more popular next year for sure, as you said.
Yeah, when I first started selling, it was in the last recession, the housing market, and I started just a little bit before that. And I know when the recession hit, the flea market totally exploded with new vendors because in an up economy, people don't really care. They have money flowing. They'll just donate things that they don't want. In a down economy, people start watching, the bottom line, start really looking at their bank account and their balance at the end of the week. And instead of just donating stuff and just tossing it away, now they're going to have more garage sales. They're going to go out to the flea market, try to get an extra $100 instead of just literally throwing it away and letting us have everything. So, in my experience during the last downturn, the flea markets and the garage sales were absolutely on fire. So that is something to keep in mind if things start trending downwards. And if that is the case, then that's probably maybe put some of your focus towards hitting those garage sales and flea markets because they're going to have items that otherwise may have been donated.
That's right. And this is going to take us to a little bit of a sub conversation because a lot of people have been asking us how to source better, how to get sourcing to come to you. And the top advice I can give is be known for selling something because that reputation will bring you goods. If you guys have ever chased something, that whatever you're chasing will run away. You want to be the person being chased. So you need to develop a reputation. And this is the opposite of being a bolo hunter, where you're jumping around looking for the hot thing to sell. If you are known for something, stuff comes to you. Like I asked you before the call, how often you get presented with deals in clothing.
Literally every single day. And I think that in this area where I'm at, I'm known as the guy who buys a lot of clothing. And I think a lot of that did start from the flea market where, people will hold stuff for you because they know that's what you're looking for, or people see you buying a lot of clothes or a lot of a certain type of item. And then also at the same time, every time I went to a thrift, I would totally clean it out. So, in the area and in combination with having a large eBay store and people knowing that I do have the ability to get up a massive amount of clothes, it's just an endless supply of people who want to be the supply for the eBay machine that I have built. So if you can get known to be the guy in your area, whether it's the electronic guy, the video game guy, the guy or girl for clothing, whatever it is, if you could be that person who has the ability, who has the capital to get to buy a lot of items and post a lot of items, then you just have an endless rotation of people who do want to present you deals.
And I think that the number one thing in all, if you watch American Pickers or you watch any kind of negotiation in a pawn shop, what they want to hear is, I'll buy it all. That gets you the best deal. That's the most important thing. You need to leverage that. Recently, because I bought that store, a whole bunch of people have been presenting their store to me. They want to exit their store, or maybe they want to start over and they want to get rid of their bad buys, which I've seen. So I look at people's stores, and this lady said, okay, I have 2,200 items for sale, and I want to sell my store. So I quickly went through her store. Of the 2,200 items, no joke, 2,100 of them were bad buys. Okay, so I'm looking through her store, and I told her those 2,100 items are essentially worth nothing, because if you already have skill or practice sourcing, you would never pick up those items. So the remaining 100 items, that's the only thing that we can work with. But I know she did not want to hear that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, we need to work out a deal. I'll take all of it, but I got to have a screaming deal on these home runs to make up for this. And that's how you become known as a person that can do it, because no one's going to sell you only their premium stuff ever. That will never happen in any resale deal ever.
Yeah, no one's ever going to sell you the grails or the premium stuff for the cheap or for the low and let you make a bunch of money. That's never going to happen. So the way that I've been able to get a lot of suppliers is I tell them immediately from day one that if you have 1 piece, 10 piece, 100 pieces, 1,000 pieces per week, I will buy all of it. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 pieces in a week. If that's how much you find, I'll buy every single piece. And, once you do that, you have the leverage. And just like you said, any type of negotiation, if the leverage is on your side, then the deal is going to be better off for you. So as the buyer who's buying 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000 pieces, whatever they find, now I have the ability to set the price across the board for basic items, for mid-grade items, and even for grails, because I am spending a lot of money every single week, consistent, like clockwork. There's no shenanigans, no nothing. You come, how many pieces do you have? Here's the money. We see you again next week. And because I have that reputation, a lot of people really want to sell.
So oftentimes the question people ask is, oh, so you're at a new vendor or a new wholesaler, or you're at the thrift store, and you want to know what else they have in the back, or you want to see what kind of fresh donations they have. If your cart is empty and you haven't bought anything yet, and they don't know you, and you say, what do you have in the back that just came in? They're going to say, get out of here. They're not going to talk to you. If you just spent $500 and your cart's full, you've already paid, you already had a conversation with the checkout lady or person, now you actually have some leverage. They've seen that you've actually done some damage. If they see you all the time, that's a huge difference, especially anywhere where there's stuff coming in, fresh stuff coming in. If they know that you're a big buyer, sometimes they'll even text you, call you if they know.
Yeah, definitely. I have never asked anybody what's in the back. Can I see what's in the back? I have been presented with deals at the thrift store, again, because they know that I'm coming there and I'm coming to spend money. I've had managers get upset with me and go, oh, you're only spending $300 this week. What's going on? And I say, well, you don't have enough stuff on the racks. If you have $1,000 worth of stuff, I'll buy it all. So put the stuff on the rack. You know, I come here every Saturday, and I'll be here Saturday at 10 a.m. Have the stuff on the rack. I'm ready to rock and roll. But you know, there have been times where the managers have seen us and like totally light up, and they go, "Oh, we just got this donation of such and such." One time, for instance, was the Miami Dolphins donated a ton of items: shirts, hats, jackets, pants, everything. And the manager saw it when we came in, and told us, and they said, "Here, this is what I want per shirt." They wanted $7 or something, but they said, "If you buy it all, I'll give it to you for $5 each, because I don't have to pay my workers to price it. We'll go up to the front, we'll count it out, and you could buy it." I didn't even look at it. I saw the colors, I knew what it was, and I said, "Okay, bring it to the front, let's go." And that's what we did. We bought it and made a bunch of money off that deal. And you know, that happens every so often, but like again, if you're known as the person who's going to come in, there's no games. I never ask for a discount. I never ask for anything like that. I'll pay the price because there's always going to be margin. That's why I have it in my hand anyways. But I come in, I spend money. I'm nice. I'm pleasant. I do what I got to do, and I'm up the road. And I'm business. I'm serious. And they know if I literally say, if you have $10,000 worth of stuff, I will buy it. So they take me seriously when I come in there, and that's probably 90% of the battle.
The no processing is massive. They don't have to process it. They don't have to pay someone. Their margins go up too.
Yeah.
So when the managers that are running these stores, they like it when it goes straight. You're essentially buying raw donations. Saves them a bunch of time. They also get that space back in their facility. It's massively beneficial. And also, I'll mention one more thought on the sourcing. My friend is he's in the top 5 sellers on eBay of Michael Kors, Coach, Kate Spade, the outlet game, and it is really cutthroat. I mean, you're buying for 30 and selling for 50, free shipping, free returns. It's tiny margins. So you have to you have to know what you're doing, and you have to do some volume. So I remember watching. He was saying that he doesn't have an item limit because the store knows that he's going to be no hassle. He's going to they don't what happens is corporate of any kind of company, they don't like resellers. It gives them like a bad reputation. Target literally says in their training, resellers will be one of the hardest things you deal with at this company. They don't want it. So the way that he does it, because he knows that they don't like resellers, the manager over time, he figured out that they like when he pays with gift cards. There's no name on it. It doesn't track back to any particular manager. So that particular mall is called Simon. There's probably a Simon mall somewhere near you or outlet. Yeah. It's a big chain. He said, manager says, if you use Simon gift cards, there's no quantity limit for you. You've got to think about keeping the person that you're working with happy. You want to be as little work as possible. You mentioned, I mean, pretty much everything that we do, if it's quiet, that means it's good. That means everyone knows what's going on. It's simple, clean, and that's just, you're saving them a ton of time not having to explain to someone, look, if you charge everything on one credit card, it's gonna get me fired, or it's gonna spark off the brand. It's the same thing. If people who get suspended on eBay for selling all one brand, the brand hates that.
Yeah, it's just too many red flags when there's a huge transaction with hundreds of items. They're always, because that opens them up to fraud. That's the problem. If you have one transaction for a whole bunch of items and that person opens up a chargeback, they lose all the items. You can't charge back a gift card. So That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, they want to make it easier. They want it clean. And I think it comes down to also the number of transactions, because we talk about this. If your account falls below standard or you want to get it going, number of transactions can help boost your store. If you sell, when people say I fell below standard, how do I fix it quickly? And we talk about you have to sell a bunch of stuff for super cheap. That's what you should do almost anyway. It's good for your store having that velocity.
Yeah, because all of the metrics are percentage based. So like you see people who go, oh, I'm only 0.10% from being top rated seller. but it's all percentage based. So you're missing probably 3 transactions out of 1,000, and that's why you're not top rated. So, we've been talking more and more in the group of like, none of this stuff is special. It's all replaceable. You can walk into any thrift store in America and replace it. So if the margin is there and you are making a good ROI, just move it up the road and go buy 3 more just like it. And when you have so many sales and such a transaction history, whenever something does happen, your metrics don't take a beating. So like with the post office thing, if I had to drop off a full day's packages of a couple hundred items at the post office and they didn't scan them, I would be totally fine because my metrics are so far on the positive side that a handful, even 1 or 2 or 3 days, is not going to set me back. But if you are not selling a lot and even 10 or 15 items aren't scanned, you can almost lose your entire store metrics wise because you won't even be close to being top rated for probably several cycles, and they judge on a 3-month rotating cycle.
You also have to understand that eBay has loyalty programs. If you sell a lot of items, they have exceptions. They can say, you know what, Tech, we looked at your store. Looks like you've shipped 99.999% things on time. This one time something fell through. There were some issues. You know what? We'll just credit you back the fees. And they can actually do that because they have goodwill built into higher customers. If you don't have enough volume, there's no goodwill to give you.
No, because a few years ago, I think I had some sort of issue where my items did not get scanned. And I think it was like over 100. And I called them and said, hey, look, this is going to mess up my account. The items weren't scanned. But as you can see, I've never sent out any item late. And they were scanned. It was just hundreds of miles away from my house for the first time. So like I dropped them off at my location. They didn't get scanned for days later, hundreds of miles away later. And, the rep, they looked into it. They put me on hold. They saw that I've never shipped out anything late prior to that. And what they instructed me to do was email the customer service with all the item numbers, and they would be able to remove all of those defects. And again, that was several years ago, but they removed all of those defects, and I was able to top. That track record is important. It's important with everything. It's important as a buyer. It's important as a seller. And eBay has many metrics that they look at that they don't even tell us about. I would bet my bottom dollar that response time to messages is a metric that customer service reps can see. And if they see like you're really on top of your game, they're going to be way more inclined to help you on anything that you need.
Yeah, this is important with pretty much anything. If you have a more velocity, you'd rather be the person doing $50,000 a month with $25 items than $250 items for sure. Because all that volume eats up so many problems, and they have the ability to help you.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
The velocity will help you so much. Like if you run into any kind of issue, 10, 20, 30 items, and you're doing velocity, it doesn't matter. It's just like a little pebble in the ocean. But if you're only doing a hand items, and if you run into 1, 2, or 3 problems, those can totally set back your store. And if you're not top rated, you have increased final value fees, you have decreased search rank just from 1, 2, or 3 mishaps. So like the more velocity you could do, it's only beneficial to you.
So also when you are, one more thought for the customer service agent, if the item is cheaper, they don't have to ask their manager to help you. Mm-hmm. If you sell only home runs and it's a $500 item, they can't make that decision on helping you on that transaction. They need to get a whole bunch of people involved. And if it's a $10,000 transaction, they might have to ask 50 people to get anything approved to even help you.
Well, you know that firsthand this week. You sold a Switch and they had to get the police involved.
That's right. Even for $300, you have to get the police involved. Right. Yep. But for $30, they're not going to.
So go ahead and tell the people the story and why you had to get police involved.
This is a great example. So I sold 12 Nintendo Switches internationally because right now Nintendo Switch sells for a little bit more money international if you offer direct shipping. If you use the global shipping program, it is not cheaper because they're paying customs and they also pay a global shipping program fee. So it's if you ship direct, you can essentially buy from retail and make $60 a sale. Now, you are taking the risk because if the customer gets the item, they can say it's not as described. Versus if you use GSP, they examine every box. If they say this was new and then it was sent to the customer, and the customer says it wasn't new, you're off the hook. You get your money back. They handle the return. Now, this person was a experienced scamster because they said the item arrived perfect condition, but was missing a controller. So this would be a manufacturer defect, not me, but I'm responsible for a manufacturer defect in eBay land. So I was required to pay for a return label. So I reached out to eBay and I said, look, this is unusual to have a brand new item be missing something. And it's a quick item. This buyer also has private feedback. What do you think I should do? And they said, well, just pay for the return label. If something happens, we'll try our best to help you. Pay for the return label. The guy sent back a DHL envelope, the flat rate envelope, which is like $12 worldwide. No way a Nintendo Switch could fit in a flat rate envelope. So then eBay said, we'll still take care of you. And this is also important. eBay is trying to take care of you. But you need to go file a police incident report, get this person on the list of mail fraud to try to prevent them from doing it in the future, and then we'll take care of you. Which is, yes, it will take you an hour out of your day, but you're helping make eBay a better place for everyone. And just remember, this can still happen to you if you use GSP. And this is why people who have an under $100 ASP, they sleep better at night because they're not really worried about heavy returns.
Yeah, one time it did happen to me with a shirt that I sold to the Philippines, and they send back an empty envelope just like you. And I called eBay, I showed them the photos or whatever, and they just send me the money. I think it was like $50 shirt or something. But like you said, if it is a high dollar item, and if you sell like a $10,000 bag, eBay's this going to be hands off if there's an issue. That's between you and the buyer. They're going to tell you go to small claims court or something. But like you said, they are trying to help you, and that's a great thing. So even though you do have to fill out that police incident report, they will still reimburse you. And like you got to give it to eBay for doing that, because really and truly they don't have to do it. And in the rules it states like they don't have to do that. But like again, you have the track record of a good seller. You probably also told them that you already sold 10 or 11 without issue, and this guy sent you back an envelope. What can you do to help me? And eBay is going to have your back. You just have to, show that extra proof because it is a high dollar item.
And I asked the eBay representative, do you think because this happened, I didn't reorder them? You can even do it now. You could, it's the middle of December. You guys have one more week to take advantage of all kinds of electronics are selling for whatever because they're hard to find. And I asked the eBay representative if he recommends I do that, and he said no. He's like, no, it's not worth your time to call in here every time there's an issue. If it happens to you 1 out of every 20 times, it's not worth it. And could it happen 1 out of every 20 times? Probably. So,
right. And then when it does happen 1 out of every 20 times, how do you look?
Right. And 95% is good when you're in sports. It's not good. In e-commerce, though, it means bankruptcy.
Right. But if you call them 1 out of every 20 times, then you start to look like the guy who's pulling stunts and who's scamming.